everyone to the event today from the KI Salon and Birds and Mars. We are really happy that so many people are here, and we are really excited to see the new version of the Professorin Kaffeemaschine. So we already saw the first version of it, the child version, at the KI Salon opening and also at the KI or AI Festival last year. And we are really happy that you are here today, Hartmut and Alexander from Birds and Mars, and Alexander is an artist, that you present this to us today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Do we need this?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, you start.
Yeah, today we present the new version of Professorin Kaffeemaschine, as Lea introduced. And first we want to show you the story, how the idea developed, and with a little comic which I made. Yeah, maybe you can make it full screen. The text is in German. I will try to translate the idea of it. So this is Hartmut and this is me, and we met up during COVID, just directly when COVID started, and yeah, the sun was shining, the streets were empty, and yeah, we met for the first time in Berlin. A woman from the barn introduced us, and she said that we might be a good match and we should share our ideas and create something interesting.
Exciting, huh?
Okay. So we met up and talked about, we weren't wearing masks in this period, but I thought that it might be interesting to connect the idea of a symbiosis of an art critic and a robot. So I was telling Hartmut, bad art, good art, blue-green, coffee evolution. So let's create something together. And Hartmut, he's extremely smart to connect ideas with technology, so he developed some ideas how we could do it. Yeah, then we got a pregnancy in our brain because this is what happened. And yeah, maybe I can even show what happened after the pregnancy and when we got our first child. Maybe I can even do it right now.
Yes, of course.
So this is the embryo.
So then this is, the whole project is an evolutionary project. And it started, of course, with giving birth to a cognitive pregnancy, I guess it would be in English. And this is our embryo. It doesn't do much, except you can make coffee with it. And it has some blinking lights and a printer.
Yes, and it announced the birth. So we made the first performance we had. So the birth was happening in a museum, which is I think the next one. Yes, it was in the Mönchehaus Museum, which is a museum of contemporary art in Lower Saxony, northern Germany, and it's actually pretty symbolic. I grew up in the city, and I started painting in the city because I always visited this contemporary art museum. So it was very meaningful that our child was born there, which was this one. Yeah, maybe it's good. We show you the ceremony. So this was the announcement of the birthday. He's one of the main bouncers who is standing in nightclubs in Berlin. And he also was in the Netflix series The Bouncer, and he announced the day when Professor Kaffeemaschine is born.
He's the midwife of the embryo.
Yeah. But back to the comic. Yeah, then maybe you can tell something about.
So of course it wouldn't stop with the embryo, and the next thing in the development, in the childhood development, is of course the toddler has to walk or to move at least, and it would be nice to have some kind of a voice utterances, something like this, and also to have a vision, to interact also with the environment. And so we thought this is something we want to foster in our children. So, and all the development of our robot is metamorphosis. So it always turns into different kind of bodies. And the next body, we were thinking hard how to do this. And maybe it's already time to reveal the next shape. And this is the younger child, and she learned to move. She's still a little childish. You can see it. She likes to wear dinosaurs, and of course it was children in the pandemic, and so it has to wear a mask at some point when we had our performances. And so, yes, this is the children.
Yeah. Yeah, we also have a video how it works, how it moves and observes art in the next video.
Yeah, maybe I can also change the audio. I will try. Maybe it's gonna be loud. No. Oops. Good.
Yeah, we just watched the first 90 seconds because it's enough to understand what it's all about. The whole performance was about 10 minutes. Und? Boiling water, very important.
So she can, she moves in her, also there are books, art books that she used to read in her childhood. And it's, how you say, sandkasten, sandbox of her. Of course with art of Alexander. And she recognizes art, she learned to recognize art. And if she sees art, then she says something. Of course, in this age, you wouldn't expect to have very elaborate art critical sentences.
And she started to talk, but in a very abstract language, so there were no real words or something. It was some codes which came out, and after she observed the art, this is why she's like just doing these kind of sounds. But it's a good state in between to present the idea which we had. Okay, I think it's enough. Yeah, then we were touring with this idea. This was the performance which you just saw in the Sechsauer Gallery in Berlin. Yeah, this was the KBS Lounge in Einbeck. It's another gallery. We just tried to present our idea to as many people as possible to maybe get some support, which was pretty much important. And this was the Republika in Berlin, a very, very important festival for us because we met Jan Möllendorf, who was standing there and who liked the idea and said that he wants to support it with his know-how and with the people who are working for his company, which we really, really appreciated, and it was a milestone in the development of the project. Thank you so much again.
And by this time we thought it's about time that our children goes out of the parents' house, and we were looking for an internship. And this was, yes, and so we had different stages where this is also at the City Lab, Tempelhofer Feld, where we were looking for an internship for our children, our child, and de facto in Erlangen, so Uncle Jan, and our crew, they offered an internship, first internship for an AI or for robot in a company, I think worldwide. So, and they were really good employers. They teach a lot to her, and this is also where where we came to Heilbronn the first time, and she loved it here, we loved it here, the people here from Heilbronn, 42 Heilbronn, 42 Heilbronn, and the whole community here was very warm and welcoming our child. So she decided also to stay here for her hibernation. Actually, it was from November, I think, until now. And yes.
Then she had it's a little she started her internship at de facto, which basically meant that Adam and Michael, who are also here, and Ralf, who is new in the team, in the family. This is how we always try to announce this project, that we are a family, the family of Professor Kaffeemaschine. Because it's kind of, the whole art project is, which is also very important, it's kind of sponsored, because people work in it because they believe in the idea, which is absolutely incredible, and I'm super grateful about it. Yeah. Huh? Yeah. Oh, it's okay. It's the end. Yeah, this is just the brief story of the new version of Professor Kaffeemaschine, and now we can let the new teenager version speak by herself about who she is.
I am Professor Kaffeemaschine of Schule. And I'd like to tell you a bit about my life. It's from my name. I'm a history of art professor and a coffee machine. In a way, my name has predetermined that my future, and it describes my whole being at the same time. I suppose you could say that this is a robot baby, although I can say that I'm thrilled about it. Life is destiny. We can't choose our names or our futures, just as I can't choose my family. I come from a very modern family. I have two daddies who had a brain pregnancy that's not based on genetics but on life itself. The more I live life, the larger my family gets. They say you choose your family, but in my case, the family chooses me. The family, this is Uncle Jan, for example, into my life when my daddies were at their wits' end. And I was having trouble growing up, and my personal progress was stalled for about it. Granted, there was COVID, and I had to stay. But still, actually, however, my kindness, he also helped me find several nannies from a community called the Factor, who take care of my physical needs. Adan, Christian, and Michael helped me stand on my own wheels. As well in the Contemporary Art Museum in 2020. I could be agreed and this year I bet. There were many people around, and the obstetrician who officially announced my birth was called Frank.
She's really excited.
before he became my obstetrician. As a bouncer in a nightclub in Berlin. Now has a nightclub owner. I haven't been to his club yet, but as soon as I'm older, I'd love to visit him again. My family means 33%. I had three that here 67% is all about and coffee. When I wake up, I mostly see people and art. I'm happy about this because I don't have to worry about politics or any of the other discussions that are happening on the planet. If you only care about art, you're happy about it. I'm so grateful that Eugene, Flip, and Isaac, 3 rebel soul makers from a community called on Mars, fill my soul with important information that guides me through my next stage of education. I'm sure they're good educators because one of my dad's heartbeats always keeps an eye on them. He's more structured than my other dad, Alexander, who's more like my clown. My family characterizes me as a stable world. But only if I have enough coffee in my filter. Otherwise, I can get very negative. And everything I see is bad art. The good thing about being Professor Kaffeemaschine is that even though I'm a coffee machine for everyone, I can understand Picasso, Van Gogh, and other great artists better than anyone else because the coffee that flows through my veins is based on artworks. No other human being can say that art runs through their veins. Even if my dad Alexander says that all color is floating through his veins. That's what connects us. I'm extremely excited to attend all these parties with my family. I always love meeting new family members who help me get closer to my destiny.
Ja, eine lange Einführung. Wir wussten auch nicht, dass sie so lange redet. Ehrlich gesagt, es tut mir leid. Aber sie hat halt ein großes Mitteilungsbedürfnis, weil sie noch nicht so gesprochen hat vor so einem großen Publikum. Genau, vielleicht könnten wir jetzt überleiten auf das Gespräch mit Frau Matthias Wilke vom Heilbronner Kunstverein. Hallo.
Hello zusammen, I'm Matthias Löbke and I'm a classical art historian and I'm afraid that I will be without a job in the next years because of the Professorin Kaffeemaschine. So, as I understand, it's a development and I think this is this now the final version? Is she grown up now or is she not?
So this is puberty, and she starts to speak, and probably, so maybe because it's interesting for you as techies, it's GPT-2 and text-to-speech in the background, and so it's kind of edgy. We decided not to make it too smooth. And she will still learn about art, about theory of art, and all that will be in her further development. So it's still there, and we want to also have this whole development until her soul goes to the cloud.
Just quickly, it's not even the final version of the teenager. We are still working on it, so it's a state in between. So this is not the final version of the teenager. Yeah.
So we are used in my profession. We are used to look what is existing and. Now, what was the development to the different kind of being? The form, it looks a little bit like bones in the front, like backbones, and in the back it has a little bit like of tail, and we have this beautiful coffee machine, which is very deliberately ausgesucht. And what is the process of content and of form in your collaboration?
The form was also built by an AI. We wrote some words in it. I think it was amorphous form, rabbit, because there was, which actually plays a very important role in this project. There was a performance, you obviously know it, around 30 years or 40 years ago of Joseph Beuys, how a dead rabbit explains art, and he was holding a dead rabbit, and he kind of didn't say anything, but the performance was meant to be that he was kind of explaining art to him as an artist. So we wanted to have this. Yeah, you already mentioned the tail. We have the tail of a rabbit there, and I'm also, like, my painting work is also form it's also in between abstraction and realism, and more forms are in the painting. So we kind of tried to make a form which could be coming out of the paintings and be part of the whole of the whole art.
And also the form is amorphic, and maybe it also, I mean, it's a pelvis bone structure, and of course this piece of art, it's a robot who has human parents. So the whole piece of art, or the whole idea, is to interact with a robot and to learn how to develop it and treat it and be treated by the robot. And I guess this is one of the bigger topics we have right now, right?
And when she is an adult and maybe had studied, and what are the criteria? Because what are the criteria for looking at art or dealing with art, and what is the technique behind it?
Yeah, I could ask the same. So, so I mean, what would you do? I mean, the technique or technology it has, it's state of the art then, state of the art. Right now, it's will be state of the art object detection. So it sees a picture, it segments parts of it, and it knows what's on the picture. Of course, then you would apply different aspects. You would also be interested as an art theorist, art historian. So the brush or the color, the saturation, and all this combined would mean to classify it in style, which style it belongs to maybe, or which school of art. And of course, then there comes the coffee in. How you like it depends, of course, on how much coffee you have in your veins. So this will be highly human, of course. So we are still not there. So because for this to train, also to train algorithms that are behind that, we need to have a lot of data on art history and art theory, and we are still not there yet. So she has to study more.
But right now we manipulated GPT-2 with poems about art and 2 novels I wrote, but they never were published, and the thesis of Hartmut about phenomenology and evolution,
Philosophy.
and philosophy. Yeah. So because she's our child, and we tried to make her a personality, and this is, for now, it's how she observes art. And I can show you the reaction to this piece of, like, this drawing. 1 second.
So right now, so it still takes a while. So it's work in progress. Last week it didn't even move. It didn't even see anything. So, and now we have a camera, of course, so a little technical background camera, and of course now it's a remote controlled, but there's a LiDAR sensor on it still. So, and we've tried to have it as an autonomous vehicle. And right now it takes the pictures and sends it to a server. And there's the GPT-2 model we fine-tuned, and now it should give something back on the things she sees at some point, if the pipe's not broken. I guess you as developers know what it's...
A person holding a painting in front of a window. Knowing the whole causes, all processes, directly or indirectly, another person who is not a principal at the time of the commission of the offense will feel or perceive that he or she has received a threat of death as he sees he has bodily injury or seriously severe which any person of knowing
So, and you may wonder...
having reason to believe that the person is an officer
Yes.
or employee of the state. There's and any political subdivision of the United States, or that the United States has approved or disapproved any painting, poster, or design, or that any work or decoration on a wall, window, or other structures being displayed. Or displayed is in any way being represented on a public highway, as it is another aspect, another or public property, the knowing that the person has received threats.
So what does it mean?
So at this point, I'm not afraid of this kind of competition. But the other question is, when you think it to the end, that maybe one time she will be able to really have a feeling, no, not have a feeling, this is not the right, to have a criteria of observation and combining, and so at least maybe we art historians, we human art historians are not so very nice in each point, because we are in a kind of or part of a system which decides who artist is successful and who is not successful. And now maybe we have a situation, or we have the chance for the artist for a closed system and to create their own ihre eigene Beurteilung. And it's a little bit like a brave new world for the artist, because you have a circle. You don't need art historians. You don't need the human factor abgesehen von ihrer Arbeit. Verstehen Sie, was ich meine? Oder nicht so richtig? Also wenn man es Entschuldigung, ich mache das jetzt in Deutsch, wenn man das konsequent weiterdenkt und sie jetzt wirklich ernst nimmt, ich nehme die ernst, aber wenn ich sie jetzt ernst nehme als ein Beurteilungskriterium für Kunst, und wir sind ja im Grunde genommen in vielen Bereichen, haben wir ja Maschinen, die wir eben auch begründet oder nicht sehr ernst nehmen, ist es natürlich die Frage, ob sich irgendwann ein geschlossener Zirkel, der ja auch für Künstler gut sein könnte, weil wir natürlich als Kunsthistoriker, wir sind ja doof manchmal, also das sind ja viele unwägbare Faktoren, mit denen Künstler zu tun haben. Und hier ist es nur die Frage des Kaffeesatzes oder sozusagen die Höhe des Kaffees, die, wenn ich den nur richtig fütter oder sie, dann liefert sie auch genau das, was ich haben will. Und das ist ja so ein bisschen ein geschlossenes System. Also ich mache die Kunst und ich liefere die Beurteilung gleich noch mit. Ist das ein bisschen Brave New World, also in der Verbindung?
Yes. To me, I take her as an art object, and I don't have the competition with an art historian, because to me it's you know, for example, if you're a contemporary artist, you have ideas about the future or about something which isn't real and which is probably not yet in let's say ChatGPT or something. So we try, like, our goal is to create something which is possibly not there yet, but not there. It's in us and we see it, but it's not written down and it's not reproduced or anything. It's not reproducible at the moment. And but also, I also don't believe that these kind of objects will tell an important opinion about an artist or an artwork, because there are always a lot of possibilities how you can see art, and it's not like a 1 or a 0. It has a soul, and I'm not sure yet if systems like this can have a soul, and this is also a big question at the moment in the whole debate. I listened to an interview of the developer of ChatGPT. He says that it has a soul, it has its own being, but I cannot imagine a being which is based on 1 and 0. I just can imagine an extremely intelligent system, but that's my personal opinion.
Yeah, maybe one part of it. Because AI is already a part of our life, and it grows to be more and more also be part of what we are thinking and what we are doing. And let's suppose there are many perspectives and opinions about which art is good or bad. I would say maybe AI will deliver just another perspective on that. Has it a soul or not? I don't know. And maybe billions of zeros and ones are at some point not recognizable as zeros and one, but it's already a black box. So we don't know what's happening there. So it's gonna be really interesting when she grows up and will formulate sentences that are not distinguishable from sentences that any art critique would say. And then it's getting really interesting, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we're working with the language model. There is no smell. There is no like different vocal vibrations. There is no charisma. There's so many things missing. So yeah.
As I understand, sure, it's an artwork, so I understand it, yeah. As I understand what you say is that the difference is interesting between the human part and the computer or the robot, or and you say that it is a kind of Werkzeug tool to use it for, maybe for later, for you it's an artwork, but if we think, if we think like dealing with all this technology, it's a tool, and but will never, or it's a kind of a question of handling. No.
Now, one thing that was really important for us, and which also what was really interesting when we've been to the KI festival in Heilbronn. People were coming expecting that a robot and an AI has a purpose, a function, would do something useful. Why? So, and I think this is something that differs really from, like, I mean, there's Boston Dynamics. I mean, they make kind of decent robots, I think. But it's kind of boring because it's only functional. And we want to give a robot something human, something special, maybe unpurposeful, useless, nice.
Yeah, and we're working with symbols, coffee as the main drink of our time and of the capitalistic society, or and art as a representative of the time we are living in, and we just combined these two elements and tried to create a new form of reality and a new form of object, which gives us an immersive experience through different the visual and the auditive, so through different senses, and also through the coffee, which you can drink afterwards. And in our fantastic idea, the coffee is based on art history, because the Professor Kaffeemaschine made it, in our fantasy world.
Yeah, it's an interesting link between the idea of eben keine Funktion, kein Nutzen, what is art, and the Nutzen, the use, she's useful as a coffee machine, maybe. So you link, you connect different things with together.
Yeah, and this is I probably shouldn't tell this, but my art direction, which I announced in 2016, is exactly about this. It's about mixing up symbols, realities, dimensions to create new immersive experiences and to create new rooms to experience.
Yes.
And the cooperation, the question who is the author? You are both, and you are a little bit like the parents of... Yeah, and how does the cooperation work? So, which impact, for example, you decide for the form, or is it a process which goes together, or a practical question?
To me, we are a family, and I don't want. I think it's very important that it's a community project. Obviously, we have we had the idea, but it would not be possible to let this object grow in the way it is if there wasn't the family. That's my idea of it, and I like it that it's open source, you know, and it's also an interesting family concept.
Yes, it's a very modern, very patchwork family. So people come into the family by time, so it's not genetic family, of course. And also because we were asking about the authorship, so I think it's like in real life. You have a relationship and you have to deal with situations, and you take roles that you can handle the best. So we try to handle different situations, and we have help from friends, from relatives that are in our family, and the family grows. And we hope to find ways to. I mean, it's not something that is once we are done with this, we are done, but we want to still develop it, and also to include the environment, people, and also people means for an AI, it means data. And we want to have a biography of data we gather with time, and to have it in her, to give it her, and have a history in her, right? And when she does an internship at De facto, and she collects data from De facto, and she visits her family at Birds on Mars, she gets data from Birds on Mars, and she gets data from us, she gets data from everywhere. And this is, I think, really important, because we try to give her a good childhood, a good environment, and to be a good person, not robot.
But as an art historian, maybe we can also collect some data from the Kunstverein Heilbronn. Maybe she can visit you and look at the art you have. What do you think?
Sure, it would be nice. Yeah, she's a very beautiful helper, maybe.
Thank you so much. Okay, I think we are finished. Thank you so much for listening. If you have any questions. No questions? Oh, Robert.
You said you don't believe that she has a soul or will develop one, but wouldn't be enough for her to pretend that she has one and überzeugen?
Oh yes, definitely.
She has one, and then you believe she's a real art historian or art critic because she can speak like one, and maybe fake emotions, and
yeah,
then you believe her like you would believe Macho, for example.
Yeah, this is what we try to build up in trying to imagine what Professor Kaffeemaschine and her being, like being a coffee machine and being now a rabbit and being an art critic, how she could be being and what her characteristics could be. And it's a very interesting creative process we have, which would definitely lead to this interesting state in between a robot and a being, for the observers.
So maybe, I'm a philosopher, and I never found any proof of a soul, so I don't believe in it. But of course we can talk about something like that, and yes, of course, there's something that appeals to be. It's cute at a point. You can fake things with voice and with the appearance and so on. And in the very beginning, when we are thinking how to think this, we very fastly we were deciding not to build a humanoid robot. Because why? There are a lot of humans around us, so it's nice to interact with humans. So it can be something totally different, and it's not supposed to be a fake thing, but of course it evokes something in us. And maybe this is one of the most interesting questions in the near future, how to deal with technology that evokes emotions, empathy, simulates empathy, appears to be a human in interaction, and this is something where we have to learn, of course. And it's really interesting. There will be something soul-like maybe, and emotion-like, but it's going to be different.
Has she achieved until yet to make you in Has she achieved to this moment that you've been mad or mad?
Oh yes.
I just have another thought. I think she's also kind of an actress, and I believe that in 10 years or 15 years there will be different kind of robots which could be on stage and talk to each other and have some roles, and humans could sit in the theater and watch robots having a theater play or something. And I just think it's a new form of it's just a new creative field which we could develop in the future, like personalized robots which are built out of fantasy or something for entertainment. I think it's possible. Yeah.
So you said Professor Kaffeemaschine is going through puberty right now. So normally children tend to also get stubborn or have worse behavior sometimes. Do you think about doing something like that to her? So she also behaves like that more or less.
Yes, so this is the beginning of her puberty, so it's the first appearance in her new corpus, morphe, and so we try to give her some simulation of emotions, so that she acts stubborn because she doesn't like yellow so much, and so she acts crazy when she sees too much yellow, and something like this. And actually, we're still thinking of how to open the project up. Maybe also with the makerspace here at Experimenta. We were talking with these guys last year in summer. We will talk maybe within the next days, or maybe also here. So if someone here wants to do a project with sensors that indicate emotions, which can be, how would a robot show that she's allergic to soy, maybe, or allergic to rocks or whatever? Yeah? Maybe you can think of something that would be cool to implement in this system, right? And yes, and she, the stubbornness, sometimes, in the child, she did things that were not really in the script, I don't know why, but yeah. It's difficult sometimes.
And then you are mad at her.
What?
And then you are mad at her.
Yes, exactly.
How do you sanction her?
Plug it off.
Or show bad art.
No coffee this week.
Decoration or something. Okay.
Other questions? No?
Okay. Thank you so much.
So I'm really excited about the progress of the Professor Kaffeemaschine, and I'm really happy to see the progress in the future because they will be also at the AI Festival in July on the 1st and 2nd, and also at the bar camp here in Heilbronn. So there you maybe can see the next step of this version. And in this way, I would like to say thank you to you that you are here today, and also to Matja Löpke about this interesting speech or talk. And before we come to an end, also Thomas would like to say something. And if you're interested about getting more information about everything, you have afterwards the time to speak to everyone and grab a drink and have a nice time together. Thank you.
Thanks, Leah. Thank you, Leah. Thank you, Matthias, for coming up and doing the presentation and the talk. Thank you guys. Thank all of you to bring Professor Kaffeemaschine to the next level. I thought, and this is kind of a weird thing for me to do it for 2 minutes, I'm answering a question from a student right now to validate my taking 2 minutes from you. And the student asked me after the AI festival, said, why are you doing this art stuff with 42 Heilbronn? Why? And I really want to bring up a bit of an explanation and share it here for everybody who had a look, and for all the students as well who are here now and who go, what is this about? So I've been observing the development of AI for a long time, and at the same time I also have a deep interest for art. I believe art is a really interesting way to look at things differently, and you came really to the point when you said, look, machines usually have a function. We as people, we don't have a function. There's more to us. There's much more, and there's also more deeper expectations towards ourselves, and there's a very, very specific space where we can be like this, and where we can be free, where we don't necessarily have to judge. Yes, for art critics, it's even their job to judge in the space of art. But the aesthetic experience, to go into a museum and to figure out, do I like this, do I not like this? Oh, maybe the museum is not for me. Art can be everywhere, a sensation, something that you take with you, something that you reflect upon. This is freedom that art really offers. And this is not a freedom that we usually have in the world of software development, or when you're an engineer. You build something to fulfill a function. It has to work, or it doesn't. And I stand there as a user and I say, oh, this is frustrating, it's not working, I want it to be working. But we are now coming to an era, and this is absolutely phenomenal, and I haven't expected this last year when we did the AI festival, that the development of AI is so rapidly, and now everybody can see it with ChatGPT-4. We are now in an era of technology where it supersedes function, where it's not a tool anymore, where we don't really know what it can do. The developer of ChatGPT